Well, guys, NWA Power November 19th, 2019 was I would have to say, a successful episode. I think it told a lot of good stories. It had some good matches. The main event sucked. I did not like the main event at all, which I'll get into with you guys. I think this guy, the question mark, by fans being beloved, is rather kind of annoying. Kind of makes me go ahead and want to say what Eli Drake says all the time, that they're dummies. Yeah. Because this idea of liking this guy, the question mark, is downright ridiculous. I don't quite understand what the fucking big buzz about this guy is, but it seems pretty retarded to me. So that's just my opinions on that. We kicked off the show, though, with Dave Marquez interviewing NWA World Champion Nick Aldis, who's turned into an outstanding performer. He did a very good job in this opener match with Trevor Murdoch. In his promo opening to the show, he was somewhat in between as like a face and a heel. Kind of made some comments that were very controversial and a little bit kind of derogatory towards Trevor Murdoch in a innuendo kind of way. I personally felt that it was a mixture of things. There was a really nice closing of the show that was kind of a interesting little cliffhanger to get you interested in wanting to see the next episode. But let me go into what this promo was with Nick Aldis. So, Marquez starts talking about Camille being absent and said that the internet has been buzzing about the dynamic between the two. Aldis downplayed any potential issue between the two and shifted the focus to how they are settling things in the ring in the NWA. Aldis said that while the number one contender situation is being sorted out, he decided to step into the ring to do what he does best. Aldis said that he would face Trevor Murdoch in an exhibition match and noted that he met at Harley Race's camp over a decade ago. Aldis noted that it was non-title match and would be an exhibition, as I just mentioned. The crowd wasn't pleased. Aldis said it wasn't a tune-up match, but Murdoch was coming off a long sabbatical and wasn't among the top contenders yet, which is very true. There's no doubt about it. Trevor Murdoch was just a few weeks ago having a qualifying match to qualify to even be on the roster, let alone even be contender for the World Championship. So that does make sense from Aldis to say something like that. But then he says something else that seemed a little bit derogatory and kind of mean in a way. Aldis made a comment about how Murdoch may not come any closer to the NWA title, but he was giving him a chance to move closer. Basically stating that this screen here, or not the screen, this article doesn't really state. One comment that came out of Aldis's mouth is that Murdoch wouldn't come. His career of coming closer to the belt is basically him seeing it in person. That's it. So that was kind of a really mean comment that came out of Aldis's mouth that I didn't really think was very face-like, even though he portrays a face more than a heel. So it's really hard to understand, and they really need to find the direction on where they want to go with Nick Aldis. But he's an interesting character. I like him, but still, he's very hard to tell where he's coming from, if he's a face or a heel. I mean, then again, maybe some people find that interesting because it leaves them guessing what the hell he is. So then we had Nick Aldis face Trevor Murdoch to open up the show in their first match, and Aldis and Murdoch shook hands before locking up. Murdoch kicked the middle rope into the groin of Aldis early on, and Murdoch went on an offensive run with a clothesline and a couple of body slams. Murdoch went up top and performed a bulldog, which is considered to be his finishing maneuver apparently. Tried to go for the pin. Didn't make the intelligent decision to take the foot that was close to the ropes and hook that one in the pin, and instead he hooked the other foot and allowed Aldis to be able to touch the bottom rope with his other foot that was close to the ropes. So that left Murdoch without getting the victory, and truthfully, if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have won, or he wouldn't have lost. Whatever. You know what I mean. Murdoch wouldn't have lost the match anyway. But Aldis put his foot on the bottom rope anyhow, and Murdoch went to the ropes and cut off by Aldis. Murdoch headbutted Aldis to knock him off the ropes, then went for a move and slipped off the top rope. I don't know if this was done intentionally or this was just a botched move. Whatever the case may be, it gave Aldis the advantage. He applied his King's Lynn Cloverleaf submission hold and got the pin. I don't know about getting the pin. He got the tap out and won the match by submission. So, whatever the fuck they were writing here, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It wasn't a pin. It was a tap out. After the match, Aldis told Murdoch that he's a crafty bastard, but added that he respects him, and they shook hands. And that was basically that. So, we come back on the air, and the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson were interviewed by Marquez on the interview set. Morton spoke about becoming 9-time NWA Tag Team Champions, which apparently, for whatever reason, they're getting an opportunity for the tag team titles. They're like over 60 years old, number one. Number two, have they even had a match on this program? I think maybe once, and that's it. The rest of the time, they haven't done shit. Why are they getting tag team title opportunity here? This made no sense to me whatsoever. So, after that was made, the wild cards show up. Royce Isaacs and Tom Latimer headed to the interview set and delivered a heel promo about Morton and Gibson. Marquez asked Latimer about Camille, and he answers that they're just friends. And then they walk off. And that's it. So, leaving you a question, what the hell is Camille's deal? What is her situation? This whole thing is centered around Camille, which is very interesting, based on a manager as being the main focal point with all this and the World Championship and other characters being involved in all this all at one time. Is she sleeping around with all the characters in the fucking backstage or something? I have no idea. It's fucking retarded. But it's definitely leaving me intrigued and wondering what the hell they're going to go with next with this whole storyline that they're going on. Then we go with fucking the Question Mark versus Ricky Starks. Really? These fans are cheering for Question Mark. God, they make the WWE fans seem intelligent. Why? Why are they going to root for a guy with the name The Question Mark? That is the most dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life. The match ended with a disqualification. Aaron Stevens and Question Mark attacked Ricky Starks. Colt Cabana was watching the action. Didn't like what he saw. He intervened, didn't interfere, but he intervened and made it an even fight. And then it was scheduled that they would have a tag team match with Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks versus the Question Mark and Aaron Stevens. And that's that. Wow. Big whoop. Nobody cares. So we go from that, then we go to Real Wrestling. Eli Drake joined Joe Galley and Jim Cornette at the the announcer's desk, and he states that Ken Anderson has been around the world and done it all. He said that Anderson walked into the NWA maybe just a little beyond his sell-by date. Very interesting terminology to use about Mr. Anderson. I like it. Very good, touchy statement to make about Anderson. That brought out Anderson anyway, and said he really has done it all by working small venues and working on the biggest stage of them all. That's very true. He worked in the WrestleMania pay-per-view events. I think WrestleMania 23 and 24. Both being the ladder matches for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And he won one of them and then didn't do anything after that. And he also lost the first briefcase when he faced Edge in a one-on-one match. Yeah, go figure. So Anderson said that he's sick of Drake running his mouth and challenged him to a match on the spot. This got very interesting, and fans were pissed. And I mean pissed when they saw this. Drake looked to the crowd and then started taking his jacket off. Anderson headed to the ring only to have Drake attack him from behind, and Drake hit Anderson with a turnbuckle and left him lying. Two referees and Anthony Crimson Mayweather, dressed in street clothes, came out to check on Anderson. Drake came back out, but Mayweather intervened, took him backstage, and that was it. That was a very, very good, solid little build-up and building some intensity and friction between these two guys. This match is definitely a grudge match that needs to be put on NWA Into the Fire for December 14th. This is definitely a well-worth matchup for a good rivalry match. They don't need to have this match on this card, on NWA Power. They need to have it on their pay-per-view. This is a pay-per-view-esque kind of matchup. Allison Kay and Ashley Vox versus Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell. This matchup was okay, not too shabby. Melina walked down to the ringside and showed up. Formerly was with John Morrison and Eminem as that tag team with Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. So she is now in NWA. I didn't even know what this woman has been doing in the past several years or decades or whatever. But Thunder Rosa rolled up Kay, got distracted by Melina, and she was pinned 1, 2, 3. So Allison Kay, their women's champion, has been beaten by a challenger. The champion is beaten by a non-champion. Not a good thing to do. I don't know if that means that Thunder Rosa gets a world championship match with Allison Kay for the women's championship. We make it a triple threat match with Marty Bell and Allison Kay. And you know what I mean. Marty Bell, Thunder Rosa, and Allison Kay. I don't know if they go with that idea. I think maybe they'll probably go with that idea being a triple threat match since Marty Bell's been trying to get a women's championship opportunity against Allison Kay. Now Thunder Rosa mixed in with all this pretty much brings up a lot more of adage to the match, making it a multi-women's matchup. Alright, so we move down the ladder here. We then have Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks versus Aaron Stevens in the question mark. Oh, God. Why the fuck do you people, and I'm meaning the people that were at this fucking studio watching this event, were cheering for this motherfucker? Who freaking cares? And why is Aaron Stevens back outside of bullshitting everybody? Oh, man, this fucking company. Well, I'm not going to make it sound like it's WWE people, but my God, you are coming up with the most ridiculous gimmicks I have ever seen in my fucking life. Aaron Stevens and the question mark defeat Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks. For God's sakes, this is something I need to rant about. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. Why is Ricky Starks taking a loss to the fucking question mark and Aaron Stevens? That is ridiculous. God almighty, what are they going to give the question mark a championship opportunity? Like, what the hell is this crap? This was the one thing of the show I did not like whatsoever. I thought this was garbage. And thankfully, they ended it on a high note with James Storm. I really liked the intensity that he brought to the table after the match was over. Here's what he had to say. So they go ahead and they close it out with James Storm's being interviewed. He actually interrupts Dave Marquez when they try to wrap up the show. And he complains about Nick Aldis not defending the NWA World Championship. He talks about the fact that you got champions going in there, having matches without the titles on the line, blah, 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 and so on and so forth, which are very, very important things that he said. Especially the fact that there's champions being premiered on the show, but yet they're not defending their titles. And James Storm, out of all the matches he had, he went ahead and defended his title. The only match he ever had that was not for his championship, while he was the champion for the national championship, was to determine who was going to get an opportunity to either face for the national championship with Colt Cabana's team winning, or James Storm's team winning, and him getting an opportunity for the NWA World title, and then later him dropping the NWA National Championship and vacating the belt so he could challenge for that World Championship. He also stresses about Camille. Then Camille walked out and ended up whispering into James Storm's ear. Camille headed backstage. Storm smiled and said, "Sorry about your damn luck." And then head backstage, and then we heard the theme song for NWA Power, and that's how the show went off the air. Now, this leaves some very interesting storyline telling. This kind of, again, they still dragging out Camille. I don't know where they're going to go with this, what this whole thing is about. But they're probably more than likely going to reveal something like this on NWA Power, not NWA Power, but NWA Into the Fire pay-per-view. I think that things are going to be revealed at that point, and we're going to see what is going on and what the big hype is about Camille and what her situation is going on throughout this entire show that we've seen. So, that's pretty much all I got from this show. A nice little cliffhanger. Very good promo by James Storm. Solid little grudge match that I think should be a match on the pay-per-view card of Into the Fire with Ken Anderson and Eli Drake. And, I mean, the wrestling was okay. Except for the last match I did not like. I thought that was a absolute fucking joke. And that was pretty much it. So, that's all I have to say on this episode. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and you know, as always, have a great night.